My name is Eric Garcia. I'm the mayor of Grants, New Mexico. 2.5 years ago, I was elected City Councilor District 1, and to be truthfully honest, I had no clue how this machine worked. The more and more I learned, it's our representatives and our senators who fight for us to get what we're getting in grants, such as roads, 1st and 2nd Street, all major bridges, city water infrastructure, new schools, public safety, and the list goes on. And even some fun, simple projects from Representative Alcon, such as help with Main Street and Mining Museum, new sign coming soon to Route 66, will be a boost to our tourism. And super cool memorial project to our fallen police officers and firefighters across the state from Representative Garcia and Senator Sanchez. And one we are crossing our fingers on from Representative Garcia is our Grants Arena. It takes a team to get what we are needing for our community, but it takes great leaders at the top, such as yourselves, to open the doors so we can be successful to bring safety and economic growth to our community. Thank you and welcome to the safest and cleanest community in New Mexico.
Again, the Council of Governments is a planning and development district for the 3-county area of San Juan, McKinley, and Cibola. We cover a lot of different things, work with communities and governments to help them plan, develop projects, get them implemented. This is something we've been doing in this county for a number of years, probably close to a decade. Really appreciate the legislators for taking the time. I know this type of lineup helps you get everybody kind of done in a day so that you don't have to go to various meetings. But again, we appreciate your valuable time and consideration of all these projects and communities. We've tried to bring kind of everybody together. I think another thing that happens in these forums is entities start seeing where they can work together on projects, where the commonalities are, where the issues that the community is struggling with. And so you'll see a lot of people in solidarity come out of these meetings. Hey, I can help you on that. I didn't know that you also needed a skid steer. Maybe we could share it. Those kind of things start happening. So I just appreciate everybody that can stay through the day and kind of hear all the aspects of the community, from economic development to water to working across different boundaries.
Well, thank you, Cibola, for having me. Mr. Mayor, thank you for putting this together. These are great. Like, you know, we were introduced before. These are great to have because we get to see what you guys need, what you want. It's really great here to be here today, and can't wait to see all the presentations. Representative?
Okay. Anyway, everybody can hear me. I don't need a mic. Thank you for inviting us today. It really is awesome to have this like this with everybody here at the same time. You know, even though we're a part-time legislature, we are a district legislature. Just to give you an idea, Monday and Tuesday, the Seventh day went to Galveston, Albuquerque, and that was just for legislative business. Today, Thursday and Friday, I guess that's in Gallup on the legislative meetings, and today I'm here. So it really is nice when we can combine everything because it sure saves a lot of time. I remember your name. Thank you and Brandon and your staff for putting this together. It's awesome. I know I'm hard to get a hold of. Every time somebody sends me an email, I got to rush and see where's my calendar at. Will I make it or not? Yes, I can. No, I can't. So, but it is awesome to be here. I do want you to know Senator Munoz and I, because of redistricting, now have almost more than 60% of the city of Grants in our district. So if you people think that this is your representative, you're wrong. This poor guy is scattered throughout the whole doggone state. So that made my legislative district a lot tighter. But it is a lot not easier to work. I still hit both corners of the state of Arizona all the way to Manuelito, and all the way to Chilta, where I hit the very border Arizona. So you can imagine how much we travel, how much time we spend. We're simply closer.
Is that better? No?
All right, great. So anyway, now that she fixed it, we're done.
Good morning, Mayor. Thanks for the time. Whoever put it on, city manager, I see you there. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gary Garcia. I live in the home district 69, and these two gentlemen that are next to me represent a legislative. I got 6 counties that I represent. I represent San Juan, McKinney, Cibola, Cibola counties. I got 9 chapters, 3 pueblos. I got the highway and Alamo in my district. So that puts me all really thin on what I'm trying to do. I know the need is great throughout the district. But when you have a little bit of it, you have enough money to spread around. And when you have 6 counties, it makes it awful tough to help everybody. And I'm bringing that out so people are aware that it's not, I'm not trying to short anybody out, anything. But when you're that spread out, it's really tough to accomplish. Let me run one by you on the capital outlay. I got a list this morning. There's money out there that's not being spent, and I'm not going to pull out any. I'm not going to point out any particular entity, but there's buildings in all over the treasury and state in Mexico that money that has not been spent on the capital outlay project. You really need to look at that and spend it. If you get it, spend it. Don't hang on to it. Because at the end of the day, if you ask for more and we give you more, the governor will look at it and say, well, you didn't spend the last one, you should line item be doing and pull it out completely. And these are just issues, and it is good to be here as one group. Because when you're stripped out, all of us are, it is really tough to talk to everybody at one time. And this is perfect, me. And I know that these in my district are great. We need roads. I got bridges in my district. School buses cannot go through to the weight. Our roads are in bad shape. We need to do more to help our 3 people, our kids, our senior citizens, and our veterans. And that is not in particular order, but you know how I am about veterans. I'm adamant about it. And I'll try my best to help them, so we can help everybody out. With that being said, thank you for being here. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you all, appreciate it. We're just going to jump right into the program, so I'm going to call out the entities. Feel free to come up to the podium or the microphone here, and we'll bring up your slides. So without further ado, the city of grants. We have invited kind of some of the state and federal partners that we deal with, that we work collectively as partners to help communities, because these aren't, it's not just capital outlay dollars, it's all the programs that are available. And so I did want to introduce Patricia Dominguez, our USDA State Director, who's here with us. She's very interested in getting projects into the queue. So if you have projects that fit USDA's programs, water, wastewater, community facilities, etc., she's here to do business. So don't forget to talk to her while you're here.
I've had the privilege and opportunity to come before you guys the last several years as project manager. This year, obviously, I'm the city manager. So I have worked with you guys on projects in the past, and I appreciate all you guys do for our municipality for the projects that we've done in the past. This year, I'll be brief just because I know there's a full agenda. Our team is Shannon Devine. She's the new project manager with the City of Grants, and our consultant, Chris Perea from Muslim Company. He'll reference, speak on one of the slides that we're going into. Our number one project, if you click, our number one priority this year is heavy equipment, these little Bobcats. We have one at the golf course, and we purchased one last year for the roads department. I know it's a small ticket item, however, They are amazing little items. They have lots of accessories that you could attach to them, and we could accomplish a lot and work a lot more efficiently as a municipality in getting some projects done. So this is our number one priority. And the lifelong on the Bobcat that we have at the golf course is approximately 25, 30 years old. So I know the longevity of these little guys. They go a while. You just got to maintain them, treat them right, and they'll accomplish the task that you need. And our second priority, Chris Padilla from Wilson will reference.
Morning, welcome, representatives, senators. Our second priority is Davis and Gunderson Street Roadway. It's an extension of Davis to the east, and Gunderson runs north-south between the Family Center and the new school for Mountain View. It will provide public safety, improve traffic flow around the school. Another part of that is we're also, in conjunction with that, improvements to Washington on the other side with the utilities and roadway improvements. And with the new school location being directly east of the existing location, it'll help facilitate access, separating bus, school, children, so it'll be a much safer situation. So we thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Chris. I just want to reference in the last project that Chris mentioned, the Mesa View project. We've got funding for the roadway, Washington in front, several DOT agreements, CDBG, so we have reached out to other funding resources to the overall big picture in that area. We just need some additional funding for the Gunderson and Davis road improvements. However, the new school is being built through the state, and then Washington, like I said, we got NMDOT and CDBG project going for that, for Washington Avenue. Our third priority is the golf course pond and pump station. This is another project that will be construction ready here within a few months. We're close to full final design on the scope of the improvements to be made. We received $175,000 capital outlay a couple years ago from you guys. Thank you. Now we're ready to go to construction. Of the 175, I believe there's about 100,000 available. So the additional funding that we need to complete the project, completed is $375,000. This pump station is 30 years old. The golf course was built 30 years ago. This is the original pump station. It needs to be rehabbed. We are rehabbing the facility, in other words, remodeling it, but the pumps and the hard infrastructure inside of it, they will be replaced. So it's a rehab replacement project. And I just wanted to lastly note that an emphasis of the City of Grants is outdoor recreation. We're building trails. There's a new focus between the Village of Milan, the City of Grants, and Cibola County. We're really tying in some key trails throughout town, health and fitness. It's just a great aspect that brings amenity to the City of Grants, and we're on the same page with the county. We're on the same page with the Village of Milan. Outdoor recreation is a big focus of the City of Grants, and that's where we're going in regard to economic development. So we stand for any questions or concerns that you guys may have in regard to the priorities that we presented.
Thank you. I'm just curious. This is basically what you're considering your ICIP list, which you are going to bring to us through the legislative session. Am I correct?
Correct. Yeah, the full ICIP has about 20 items. We're presenting our top 3.
These are your top 3.
Correct.
Okay, and was that what was the idea that was behind that?
Yeah, we've asked the entities not to bring you everything in the realm that they need, but really just focused on their top priorities, whether it's capital outlay, policy, other kind of program funding. So these are the top 3 in the City of Grants.
I just wondered. Let me just say this, okay?
Sure.
Your asks are pretty low.
Okay. Okay.
And that's not bad. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm happy. But it seems to me like there might be the availability of money this year more than any other year, unless some cuts are made. And but I really see that there's going to be some availability of money.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm wondering. I mean, $250K, you can probably budget that yourself, and not for something else in another project.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, my response would be that we are putting applications, Water Trust Board, DOT, USDA, so we are going for other funding opportunities. These are just our 3 priorities through capital outlay. Because we have like Sacaleras, that's a big project. That's not being brought before you guys because we have funding from the DOT of which we're planning and designing, and eventually it's going to be a big ticket item. So we're just trying to keep the big ticket items from capital outlay, and we're going through NMDOT funding or some agency funding through the state.
I'm grateful for that. You know, this is my working here in legislature, 13 years. And for 13 years, we funded First Street and Second Street.
It's done.
I know, for 13 years.
We're all grateful. It looks nice. Thank you.
How much money, honestly, how much money we put into those projects that just got pulled back and not spent, and it should have been done 15 years ago, even 15. But, so that's what I'm saying. If we got something going, let's get going. Let's not wait 13 years.
I remember when I became project manager, you told me, finish First Street. First Street's done. Thank you. I hear you. Thank you.
Thanks for the presentation. On that pump station, that's the one up on Old Highway Industrial.
The what? I'm sorry.
The pump station.
It's the golf course pump station. It's not well number 3 or Route 66 lift station. This is the pump station at the golf course. The irrigation system, the effluent from the wastewater treatment plant, that it waters the grass. We need a pump station to send it throughout the system to pump the water to water the golf course. So the pump station sends the water to the entire golf course. Yeah, well, I think you gotta get a little closer to it.
Yeah, I found it.
There you go. There you go.
Anyway, I was just wondering what that is. On your list, they're awful low. We all agree on that. But the problem is that if you ask for too much, then it stalls out because we don't have the funding to finish the job. You know, the mayor mentioned the rodeo arena. That money will be coming in if it does come in from quality of life.
Yes.
Money the state put out. Imagine we're working on that, we'll see what happens with that. You know, we should be getting an update on that here before the year's up, for sure. And let's hope it does. But, you know, we already have, what, $2 million invested in it.
Yes.
And I hate for it to just stall out when we lose the $2 million. We're not gonna lose the $2 million, but it'll never go up because we don't have the funding to do that.
Yeah.
And, really the asks are really low, they really are. But what are your total asks? On that, you got
Total ask for this year?
yeah, you said you had other.
Oh, okay. Wow, jeez. You want me to go down my wish? It's Christmas time. Okay.
General idea what.
Okay. Oh man. I mean, we got $20-30 million of projects. If you have me to go into details. Okay. The biopark. That's another priority. The biopark, Roosevelt Avenue. We have those.
Well, you know, my concerns are more that we should ask for what we're going through right now. We see it every day. I get calls every morning. The city of Grants, water will be off every day. You know, we really need to prioritize the infrastructure of our city, you know, water lines, shoreline, roads. Because, you know, it's terrible whenever you see it every day. You know, you see another water leak, you know.
Yes.
And I know the city's old, and these pipes have been in there for 70, 80 years probably.
Yes.
But we need to kind of, if we would, steer ourselves more into the infrastructure. And then go on, because, you know, the roads need to be fixed.
We are breaking ground on the USDA water and wastewater project here within a couple months, and that's the first phase of a $5 million wastewater and $5 million water project, of which we're addressing. I get the same text messages you get: alert, water break, and we are addressing that.
And what I'm going through, Donald, is, there's a lot of money in the state. There's a lot of money. I think this year's budget's going to be like $9 billion.
Wow.
And when I started in 2016, I think it was about 5. There's a lot of money there. And you said that lady can do grants.
Yes.
That, you need to apply for all of it, because it's there. If you don't apply for it, somebody's going to wipe up the kitchen,
I got her card already.
It's
right there.
And we've talked about it on needs for the city. We talk about it all the time.
Yes.
And everybody has needs, and the catch to it is applying for the money is there.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Just one more question. When you did your ICIP list, did you include your councils so that they could focus on the districts that they represent?
They approved the ICIP several months ago, so they're part of the ICI process, the elected officials. It goes before them, before it gets posted on the state website, and before it's approved through the state.
Around after knocking on doors, you guys maybe do this, okay? When you go knock on doors in the city of Grand, one of the things like in Zuni Canyon, they're talking about there's no recreational facility at all for the children out there. Well, there's not a single, not even a quarter of a block that they could use for swings or stuff like that for children that live in that area. And I just wonder why it's ignored. I mean, there's little areas that we've looked at, and I'm just curious about that because, I've heard something about the parks needing work. I've heard that over and over again, and I don't see that now. I mean, we went to Gallup yesterday. Gallup had $70 million worth of asks. I mean, they weren't scared, okay? I mean, and it was just like I told them. I mean, they're going to fix the turf fields. They told us that they had, that they're going to request $1 million when they needed $6 million to repair their turf fields. And I'm telling them, if you're going to request, you're going to ask for the money. I mean, if the worst you can do is not get in.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So I'm just having a little trouble with it. Over there, I'm looking at $70 million, I'm coming to Red, I'm looking at $150,000.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But the total ICIP request is about 30 million. In response to the park in the Zuni Canyon area, the expansion of the rodeo grounds includes a park. So there will be a park at the rodeo grounds with the expansion of the rodeo grounds and the canopy. And what was your other concern? The park, and then you mentioned, we're actually applying for a grant currently today for upgrade in 2 of our parks. So just to reference your comments. Thank you.
Senator, do you have anything? Yeah. I think it's great what you're asking for, so we should be able to get all this money, right? Yeah, you heard that today. Last year, we worked together. These guys worked really hard with me together, and Representative Harry came and said, hey, I want to do this. We partnered up. And myself personally, I was put $1 million in this area, and it all got vetoed. So, we work hard to get you this money, and the ask for $1 million, well, you're not going to get it. I'll tell you that now. The $70 million that Gallup asked for, who's going to give that to them? Nobody. What you guys asked for here today, I think we can do. And going out to the other people that you're going to get that money, because on capital outlay, as a senator, I think they give us
too much.
$2 million. They give them half. And so we split it to make it work. And Donald, I call you personally, hey, what's this? But and everybody here in the room that I work with, so we try to get you this money. So I think what you guys asked for today, I see what you're doing on the other end. You're getting money on the other side from different entities, and that's what we need to do, because those will be the bigger $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. You ask for $1 million from us, $2 million from us, we have too much to light it up, you know, we can't do it. We'll give you $100,000 and the project will never get funded. It'll just sit there for years. I see projects that are still 30 years old that the money's sitting there, so I think this is a good ask for this, and I hope that we can work together and get you guys what you need. Thank you.
Just on that point, Representative, I guess that kind of was the exercise, and it's probably my fault, you know, trying to hone people down to a reasonable request. Again, there's some big projects that Grants is working on. There may be some gaps in those projects, but they've done a good job seeking outside funding and getting projects delivered. So really what they brought you today was just knowing what your individual capital outlay might be, specific requests for what you guys, you know, have between the Senate and the House. So again, we can give you a full presentation and outlook of all the things that the city's working on and the other entities. We just kind of wanted to get it tight for you today. So just know that.
And Donald, it's not your fault. You know, I talk to Don all the time, and I told him, you know, ask for what's real. You know, don't ask for unreal things. It's not going to happen. You know, I think they got, the Senate got probably $1 million more in the House bill, but even at that, when you stretch out those things, it doesn't go very far.
Yeah.
So I had Don to ask for that way, because I had talked to Don about it too, and told him, you know what, don't cut yourself short, but be realistic with yourself, because it's not going to happen. We know that. We talked about Cibola Boulevard. I put $5 million from the highway department on that deal, and it's been sitting there for over 2 years, you know. And I know it's a process, but a lot of times the process takes too long. I asked you about the airport yesterday, and that, you know, I got $1,500,000, what $2 million for that?
Yeah.
And then they're just kind of sitting there. And I hate to bring it up, but the reason I'm bringing it up, because we need to move on these projects. It doesn't do no good to give you the money and then it sits there. Because like the senator said, you know, he put $1 million under, but she looked at everything that's happening in the town and said, well, they're not spending what we're giving, so those are just issues those are my concerns.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that's the reason she line itemed it, but they work on, but you know, you really need to, what you get, you need to spend.
You got it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
Good morning, honored legislators. We thank you for being here and giving us this opportunity to present our top 3 needs for Milan. I brought with me my finance director, Candy Williams, my project manager, Denise Baca, and I'll kind of give you an idea of what we're asking for, and then they'll step up and be able to give you a better presentation. For one thing, we're asking for funds for the swimming pool this year. Last year, we had been awarded and then vetoed. We're also asking for wastewater system improvements for our failing wastewater system. And we're asking for funds for the improvements of Willow Drive and Pinon Street.
Good morning, senators, representatives. So our first ask is for the swimming pool. In 2020, we received $417,000, which is fully committed. To date, we have replaced valves, the sand filter's been repaired and refinished, pool pumps have been replaced, boiler's been updated. We did have an insurance issue with it, which delayed the project quite a bit. That was completed in August, and we are working on expending the last of the funding with a small section of the roof, which is the section that covers the equipment room and the connection between the family fun room and the pool, as well as replacing the HVACs that are currently failing. The roofing company has ordered the material, and we're anticipating a start date of March 1st, which is not as quick as we wanted, but the way things are shipping now, that's what we have to live with. Once the roof is in place, there's already a contract in place to get the heating and cooling system replaced in pool. The last round of requests for the swimming pool was vetoed. The roof that's remaining that the funding isn't covering is old. It needs to be done as soon as possible. There's just no way the village can do it without requesting this money from capital outlay.
I do. I have some data for you guys. That's what they come to my office for. They say, give us numbers, give us data. So that's what I got for you guys. So one of the things that I wanted to touch on is we did open the pool back up after the insurance problem, or the insurance was done with it on July 28th. Since July 28th to today, we've had 3,415 visitors to the swimming pool. It brings visitors from all over, not just Milan, Grant, San Rafael, San Mateo, Blue Water Village, all of Cibola County. We've had 88 visitors just since July from out of state that seen it here, came to visit somebody, and they come. So we're tallying all our visitors so we can give you guys data of this is really serving a broader bunch of people that get to do it. Not only that, it's giving our youth, our young teenagers, a first job opportunity. It's a good place to start, learn some responsibility, get a after-school job because it does have flexible hours. The other thing that we've been working on is we did change up how we're doing it. We're offering passes so that we can keep it affordable to the families. So if they have a big family, they can come in and do that. However, we are concerned that if we don't receive funding, it would be at a loss. We would have to shut it down because it does become a point of being a danger.
So for the swimming pool, we are asking for $1 million. Our last round of bids did come in at over $900,000 for the roof over the pool. So you say ask high. We're asking high. Do you have any questions on the pool?
Yes,
No, I was looking at your request up there. It's $3,870,000 and change. You got 417 funded. Why are you only asking for $1 million?
We were told to be reasonable. We're hoping $1 million is reasonable. I don't know how reasonable $1 million is.
Project, to me, asking for the whole thing is reasonable. Because it's the only pool we have to rank the elementary all from the areas. And to me, I don't know why the governor vetoed it last year, but you did.
I found that one.
You don't like it?
No, I'll tell you what happened. Okay, I'll tell you, and I'm not forgiving the governor, okay, for this, because I worked hard on getting everybody together on this project, and we put the money in there, and somebody told her they couldn't spend that $400,000. What are they going to do? And that's exactly what happened. We had $407,000 sitting in that pool for I don't know how many years. We didn't spend that, and then somebody hit the governor's ear and said, well, that money, they're not going to use it because they haven't used what they had before. So let me tell you, I've had a lot of phone calls, and I am going to request that you ask on your ICIP request for that $3.879 million. That's what I'm going to request for.
We will definitely do that.
Okay?
We do
I
appreciate
am
that.
going to tell you that I have not put it on the phone on that pool. Has been my priority. Okay. Now we did it that.
And what he's just finished saying, they'll probably call me, why are we asking for $3 million? Well, now I know the reason why she got it, but coming back to what I told the city manager earlier, if you don't spend it,
Right.
she looks at it and she's not going to give it to us anymore.
So I do want to touch on the $400,000. Originally, that was supposed to be enough to put the main roof over the pool. And then when COVID happened and everything, then of course prices went up, people weren't working, and that became an issue. Of course, the cost of the new roof has more than doubled. So the 400 was not enough to finish what phase we were at. So we did spend that money, as Denise updating the main pool systems, the sand filters, the chlorinators, all of those things.
But, well, that's fine, but if you don't get the $3 million, we're going to have a half a pool. We're going to have this discussion next year.
Right.
We're short $2 million. You know, just like Representative said, ask for $3 million. You know, we got it last year by working together. We can try and get it this year, and hopefully we can get regional. And like I said earlier, there's other funding available for these things. Like that quality of life money that's out there, it wasn't even applied for, when we didn't even apply for it, and that money is there.
They did apply for it.
We did
Okay.
We're trying.
Well, no, you know, 'cause I can't keep up with everything that's going on, but, because that's Mr. Lee's district, and we all pitched in to help get it done, because it's a community project, not just belong, you know. So, you need to treat that ICAP with a,
We will definitely do that.
And that's a great thing, this feedback gives them the chance, the time to submit their capital outlay, to do it the way you guys want. I mean, the other thing is the governor does get capital outlay as well, so if you guys put back the million, maybe she'll put back the rest.
And I do want to let you know that even though we haven't the funds to continue, we are continuing to upgrade the pool as well as we can afford.
So, as she was saying, we've been upgrading on our own. We've put in a little over $1.2 million into the swimming pool out of our own funding. Any way I can find funds, I'm making it work to keep the pool up and running.
What's your name and what do you do for the person?
I'm Candy Williams. I'm the finance director.
Okay.
The system in Milan serves over 3,600 people. That's not including the traffic we have at the truck stops, the schools, the elementary school that sits in the center of Milan. Without the sewer system, there is no village. The existing system is aged and in some places close to failing. We received a grant from Clean Water for $900,000, which will help pay for design services. The village has also committed some of our own funds to do the design and replacement of the Stanley lift station. This lift station is near failing, and there is another lift station that's not far behind. The village is running out of time and options. So we are requesting $300,000 at this time, which will be a small phase. We can definitely increase that ask as well, but we're looking at the estimated project total being close to $8 million. That $300,000 will pay for an additional lift station. It would have to be a rebuild because the lift stations that we have are no longer legally feasible. So we've received 2.9 for water improvements, and now we're asking for your help for wastewater improvements.
Did you not receive money also for the lift stations from the wastewater fund or one of the others?
The Clean Water Revolving Loan Fund, we've got a $900,000 grant.
That was it?
That's what we have so far. And we're still working on the agreement in that one, so we haven't actually started working on it yet, but that's in place. It's in the process, I should say.
Yeah, do some research, but I think there's some money somewhere there.
Okay. Let us know.
I'm not sure, but I possibly there's some more money there.
Yeah. Water Trust Board has been generous enough to give us the 2.9 for water system, but nothing for sewer.
But that was for the water well, right?
Yes, that's for water systems. Okay, moving on to our third ask. This is actually priority number 5, so we skipped a couple. We're doing Willow/Pinon. If anybody's driven down that road, you know it's basically one road with 2 names. You've walked it, so yeah, you can see how bad it is. This street is approximately 3/4 of a mile between both roads. It connects the industrial section of Milan with some residential and is a walking path for many of the the elementary school children in the area. The road is sinking, and the manholes are sticking up probably 3 to 4 inches above the ground. The sidewalks are buckling and crumbling. There are approximately 58 residences on this street, and there's also a small park. We're currently requesting the amount for the design services for the roadway. We need to make this road and sidewalk ADA compliant. The kids in the area are too close for a bus route to pick them up, and it's dangerous to walk on the roadway trying to avoid the buckling areas of the sidewalks. We estimate the project to take 1.6, that's a very rough estimate, to complete, since it'll need water, sewer, drainage, sidewalks, curb, gutter, painting, striping, signage, etc. Do you have any questions on that one?
The only thing I want to replace the cash for the 1.6. I don't know, I mean, why not ask for it? Let me just the example I used yesterday, okay? My wife wants a $300,000 house. I can only afford a $60,000 trailer. But she still asks for that $300,000.
Well, we can definitely shoot for the 1.6. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Millage and Milan. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time and all the effort you take for us.
Thank you, guys. The other thing I think people have to recognize too is that the money won't be available until next August. So I know your engineers are cost estimating now, but you need a contingency.
Our neighboring representative, McKinley and San Juan, right?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here.
My name is Kate Fletcher. I'm the county manager for Cibola, and I have my crew here that basically do the work, the great work that they do. And I actually have a new sheriff, elected sheriff, and elected undersheriff. So I thought they'd like to come and meet you and introduce you. I'd like to introduce you. Well, I'd like to ask you to attend our swearing in for all of you on the 15th of December at our commission meeting at 5 o'clock.
Representative, Senator, how you guys doing today? Good. Pretty good. All right, so I'm Josh Gutierrez. I'm the Planning and Development Director for Cibola County. So I want to go over our top three projects right now. So we've been working on the public safety building. It was a building that was donated by the National Guard and has been funded by the state. We haven't spent any of our personal money out of it. We would like to do a study to see if it's possible to put in a police firing range for small arms and like a PT field, a physical training field, for all area police, first responders, and providers. And Under Sheriff Matas would like to explain on that.
I'm going to try to. Senator, representatives, thanks for having us here. Audience, who all knows where the current firing range is that everybody uses? Up Lobo Canyon Road. It's off the side of the road. Anyway, before I get into this part, let me go over a couple of complaints that I was just made aware of. One is all the residences that live up on Lobo Canyon Road complain about the shooting that happened right there just outside the city limits and just past Western Prison. They have it blocked off to a point where people are parking very, very close to the roadway and firing their weapons from the roadway toward the hillside, and that's causing a big issue with those residences up there, the homeowners. So to move a little bit forward for the firing range, if this request is met, it's going to be for all local police agencies, sheriffs, corrections if needed. I know they have their own firing range up there already. Like Josh said, it was going to be for the small arms. There's plenty of room out there. There's plenty of backing out there. To me, I mean, I'm not the professional with building it, but it looks like it's more than capable of handling that safely. It's directly behind the building that they're remodeling. The travel distance when those rounds are fired, they're going to be stopped by a barrier, which is very safe. There's nothing, like I said, there's no housing behind it or nothing like that. The obstacle course that was mentioned to you guys, police do not have anything like that right now. I know there's a very, very basic one at Western's Range, which is owned by the state and the prison system. They allow law enforcement to use that right now. But the obstacle course that police needs to be a lot. There needs to be a lot more equipment out there for us to be able to train. especially with the area attack teams and stuff like that. Nobody has that. Not even Gallup doesn't even have that. So that would be a great help for all the law enforcement agencies here.
Thank you.
And if you guys have any questions about it.
So for this, we are seeking $500,000. Once again, this is just to conduct the feasibility study and to plan and design as well.
And just to add, I want to thank you for the monies that you've given us. We've already expended them. And thank you for the $50,000 as well. We've already picked up that unit yesterday, so thank you very much. This project right here is under, we're actually on time, and it should be done, the renovation, by the end of February. So that's where we are with that renovation.
Just really quick, don't use the words feasibility study. The state will tell you they don't pay for feasibility studies if you don't think it's feasible. Then pay for that on your own. So just do planning, and with planning you can make sure it's feasible. And then I would add equipment, just in case there's some extra money, and you can purchase some things for the obstacle course, just so you have that in the language.
Thank you.
I'd just like to introduce myself. I'm the newly elected sheriff of Cibola County. I want to thank everybody for being here, and I want to thank Representative Harry Garcia, Representative Lee Alcorn, and Senator Josh Sanchez, and the other gentleman, Mr. Evans. Thank you very much. I just want to tell you real quickly that now that I've become a member of the family of Cibola County, we have had excellent results in the support from the commissioners, from Kate Fletcher and her staff. I'll give you a good example. These monies are being used and utilized. Yesterday, we purchased new uniforms for all our officers, all the deputies. We also picked up, there was a brand new vehicle that was online that had been on hold. We picked that up, and there was, by chance, there happened to be four units available that we could equip fully for an emergency vehicle. Thank God for the good rapport that Under Sheriff Modis has with these folks in Albuquerque. So we made a phone call to I called her my guardian angel, Kate Fletcher, and she made it happen. Within 10 to 15 minutes, it was done. Thank you, Kate, and thank your staff for everything you're doing for us. As far as the shooting range here, the new complex, it's going to be a wonderful home for the Cibola County deputies and all the other fire and rescue and so forth, especially our dispatch, our regional dispatch. They're going to love that. They deserve this for all the hard work they do for our community and keeping us safe. As far as the shooting range is concerned, first of all, we plan to use that facility to invite all agencies. We're going to have conferences, training. It's going to be a regional thing where now we'll have the space to conduct much training, which will save lives, and invite people, law enforcement agencies, corrections, and we can utilize that shooting range for not only Cibola County, but all other counties that wish to come down and utilize those resources that we have. Again, I want to thank you very much for your time and your thoughts, and of course, we'll all pray for everybody that we're going to get a better quality of life with our officers that are out there protecting and serving you. And Senator, or Representative?
Yes, Representative.
Please, Representative Johnson, pleased to meet you, and thank you for all your hard work and your service. Thank you.
Okay, so this is a bridge that got washed out during the heavy monsoons. There's around 32 households that live in that area. It's the only entrance in and out of there, and right now they're getting through on a temporary road that requires constant maintenance. The project is underway. They're currently out there drilling.
They've built the bridge already.
Yeah, the bridge is already built. It's going to be set in place. It's a military-style bridge that they just lay out. Well, anyway, so what we're looking at is, as explained earlier, costs keep going up. So we're looking for $500,000 extra dollars to pick up the raising costs. And would you like to say something? Edward Salazar will explain more on this. Edward Salzar, Cibola County Road Department Superintendent, State Representatives, Mr. Sanchez. Good to see you again. The price of the drilling and stuff is going up, so we're asking for some more money to get this bridge completed. And
that's just the extra.
So.
Do you want to talk about the extra roads? I know that you're talking about the Cabero. We have $15 million of active projects right now, and 6 of that is in roads. So we're actually doing an audit of all the roads that were damaged. Right now, we're doing studies. So these roads need to be addressed. We've got priorities. We're trying to figure out what needs to be addressed first. We have 324 miles. So this year was a very hard year for that, as you can imagine. And we are working on that, and that's the Commission's priority for that money.
Yeah, we just left the meeting this morning on 6 of our top roads that we're going to do studies on, and one of them is the one in the Cabero and surrounding area. So it's throughout the whole county that we did get really we got hit hard this year with the monsoons, and we're still trying to catch up on some of these roads. But like Ms. Fletcher says, we're trying to move forward on this.
I know you were having issues with working on the land grants, but that was taken care of, correct?
Yes, we had some really good, healthy discussions with the land grant, and we had meetings with the community as well, and we had some educating moments, and we have a plan. We have an MOU with certain roads. We are working with the land grant nearly on a weekly basis.
Because, I went out there with a supervisor to look at these roads, and there is a disaster out there. The people livelihood was threatened by these floods, and I'm glad you're doing that. I saw it firsthand, so I'm glad you did that.
Yes.
Mr. Sheriff, welcome aboard. Under Sheriff, look forward to helping you out on whatever needs you might need as far as you need to. I know there's a lot of issues that need to be addressed, and if we can help you out with it, we'll be more than glad to. Just ask it a little low too. You only asked for $500,000.
That's all we need. We've already got the funding from the NMDOT, so none of this came from our operating funds. We already budgeted, we already got approved. So that $500,000 is to complete the whole project. I do understand that we are asking for low amounts, but these are real amounts. These are amounts that we're working on. We have $15 million in projects, not from our operating account. So we need to finish them, and this is what we're trying to do.
And on the jail part,
Yes.
back up a little bit on the new building, are you on track do you have the funding to finish that?
Absolutely. Hold on. That's what I'm saying. By February, it's going to be completely finished, and then we'd like to do the phase that we're just talking about to increase the planning and design and equip for the Sheriff's Office and public safety. Remember, we have 8 volunteer fire departments that will be there for training as well. So, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next priority we want to talk about is our above-ground fuel tanks. So each tank is about $400,000. We've funded 1 tank out of our general fund. We're going to be asking for $500,000 to fund the second tank. 1 tank is going to be at the public safety building. The other tank is going to be at the roads department. This is going to save us a ton of money and fuel costs. It's going to help us. If we could buy fuel in bulk, it's going to save the county a lot of tax dollars.
And control as well. Remember the control.
Definitely control.
Having those tanks. And if there's any extra money, like you keep saying, my finance director, Paul Ludy, keeps asking for a finance helicopter. So that's him out there, just so you know. If he was asking, that's what he would be asking for.
You're right.
No, but we just appreciate those are the requests, and they are very real requests. We will be finishing up a lot of projects next year and continuing to do so. We have funding from all kinds of funding sources, and I'm very aware that there's money out there. We've even hired an extra finance budget analyst for this, so we can actually do the reporting that needs to happen when you ask for extra funding. So Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Just one question that I have on the previous funding project, and I'm talking about the San Rafael water meter upgrade.
Yes.
We put in that $125,000. The meters are packaged and ready to be sent. Cibola County was the requesting agency.
We were not.
It was on your ICIP list that I got from Cibola County. That's where I got the money, that's where I got the idea to fund these water meters. It was on your ICIP list.
No, it was not. I'm so sorry. It's probably a misunderstanding. We use our ICIP list to choose which ones to prioritize. That was not on, and we did not know it was even funded until we had a phone call and we're like, we need to find a fiscal agent. And we did find a fiscal agent for them.
Good morning, Brandon Howplaner at the Northwest New Mexico Council of Governments. Really quick on that item, the local entity, right, the special district submitted that request on their own. However, again, as Kate mentioned, they needed a fiscal agent, and then the state immediately went to Cibola County as the overarching entity, and so we worked it out, I believe, with the Solid Waste Authority to kind of oversee that fiscal agent services and administrative piece there. And so it wasn't on the county's ICIP listing per se, but it was included in their capital outlay kind of list because they're the overarching entity.
Well, San Rafael is in Cibola County, isn't it?
No.
So why wouldn't Cibola County be responsible for something like that? I mean, that's what taxpayers pay for. So they don't pay Solid Waste Authority to take care of San Rafael.
Right. And I understand the frustration, and we have this all the time. And sometimes we have to plan as well with being the fiscal agent. For many, many years, I think you remember, we couldn't be the fiscal agent, and we had to ask other entities, other counties, to be our fiscal agent. When we have our ICIP, we plan throughout the year, and if we don't know that someone has requested and then received, it is very difficult for us to continue doing that. If we had known, which we did not know that they requested. So unfortunately, the communication was really bad.
We know, in previous years, I'll take these as an example of Pine Hill Schools. I funded a grade for them. Cibola County was fiscal agent for them. They handled the whole thing. Cibola County got the grade delivered. It's over there. It's been there for 5 years. Cibola County had no problem doing it. But why are they having a problem doing something as simple as $925,000 worth of water meters are already in a package ready to be sent?
And the commission, they approve what we're going to go for. They approve who we're going to be a fiscal agent for at that time when we approve our ICIP. That's the process.
So you're telling me that from this day on, if it's not on your ICIP list and the Department of Finance and Administration puts it onto your list, you're not going to take it?
Not unless if we don't know about it, we can't unless I really do know about it.
Well, you know about it.
Not until it was past due. I'm
Okay,
so sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm just so disappointed in this thing, because those water meters have already been put in already. I mean, it's not a matter of it. And they're sitting in some factory warehouse still, waiting for who knows what.
Oh, everything said they're already put in.
They're already
The Solid
installed.
Waste Authority were their fiscal agent.
I just talked to
I talked
McKinney County yesterday.
I talked to Rudy, and they're installed.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for everything.
No, thank you.
I said, first of all, apologize because I've had an issue with my throat for a couple of weeks now, and the only time I can get an appointment was now after 5 weeks. And so I just want to apologize for that. Redistricting did happen, I think, and I have been kind of listening for the last hour on your request. And so we're going to try to make minutes really get the most capital outlay they've ever seen in my position, and then you have your former resident Lundstrom, Representative Lundstrom there, so we can get that capital moved for you guys. And so don't be afraid to make this large request. We're going to be moving a lot of capital around this next year. So don't be afraid for those water lines, sewer lines, all that infrastructure costs to ask for $20 or $30 million. Because we're going to regionalize a whole bunch of projects throughout there. And fund them that way. I can't help what the governor did with her vetoes. I mean, that's her personal preference. She gets angry or mad, and the prior governors have done that, and you just got to try to work with them and get our projects completed. But number one, let's complete that rodeo grounds in Middle area. A couple years ago we did that, and there's money laying around, and it takes time to fund these projects, and the dollar costs went up. So number one, make sure your dollar costs on your projects are calculated correctly, and you can complete those projects in 2 years with capital. If you have capital projects that are not going to be completed because you're short funding, tell us so we can figure out a way to either add additional money to them and complete those projects. The large projects are not going to scare us away. Infrastructure projects like water and sewer so be prepared, and I'm sorry I can't be there, and I got to go back to this other meeting. But I do have my staffer Adrian on board, and he's been watching the whole meeting and tracking it, and I'll circle back around with the county manager, with the city manager, with Donald, with everybody over there at the village of Milan, and probably have a town hall in the first part of January before I leave. So just don't be afraid to ask for what you really need. And so that I'll be quiet because I talk much more, and I'll try to listen as much as I can today. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Appreciate it.
We're from the Pueblo of Laguna. My name is David Martinez. I'm the acting governor for the Pueblo today. I'm actually second lieutenant governor. Our governor and council members send the regards and appreciation for the opportunity to present our projects for funding. I think you're going to find that they're going to continue to help the community, not only locally at Laguna, but area residents. As many of the communities that are here, we have a major interstate running through our Pueblo, and so we have larger responsibilities than just our community. So some of our asks are going to help us enhance and continue to provide those services. So with us, I have Mr. Malcolm Boekety, our Chief of Operations, and Mr. Leonard Ludi, our Public Works Director, that will go over the projects for you. And thank you again for the opportunity. Wish you well. If we don't see you anytime soon, happy holidays. Happy New Year from the Pueblo of Laguna. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning, Senator Sanchez, Representative Johnson, Representative Alcon, Eliseo, and Representative Harry Garcia. I'm going to do a backdrop real fast so you guys understand where we're coming from. So we're going to be presenting three priorities. One is the fire station, number one. And number two is we want to have some funding to help Grand Cibola County School District tear down the old Laguna and Acoma High School. We have a master plan complex that we're moving forward on, but we need some help with that. And the last one is that we've never had to really help the Laguna Rainbow Corporation, but this year we want to make sure that we ask for some planning funds to do a preliminary engineering report to actually see the replacement cost of that. With that in mind, I also want to thank Mr. Trish Dominguez. She's been working with us on a $23 million wastewater project for all the 6 villages. Thank you. We also have prior projects under that umbrella. We had $15 million to do some water line work, storage tanks, elevating, and cleaning those up. We also want to highlight the reason why we have the fire station as number one. The Pueblo Laguna took over the Cebolleto fire station from the county, and we've worked very closely with the county. We just now were approached just recently by the Valencia County, and we've taken over the fire station that's at Highland Meadows. That's one of the allotted land within the Pueblo Laguna reservations. So I want to turn it over to Leonard Louie to talk about the fire station. I want to give you the highlights on this. Leonard?
Good morning, Senator, representatives, everyone online, and everyone here in the audience. Good morning to everyone. My name is Leonard Ludi. I'm the Public Works Director for the Pueblo of Laguna. We'll go over a couple of projects here that we have here for priorities on the ICIP. The first one is the Fire Station 1. Fire Station 1, we do serve a resident population of 8,366 residents, over 5,000 traveling public on I-40. This has been in design and is completed in design at this point. So this is what they would call a shovel-ready project. We've received prior funding through ICIP, and right now we're at a 50% increase in materials and items needed to complete this construction, just like everyone else that you hear with these kind of projects. We are requesting $8,426,812. We have prior funding already established, and we're subject to lose this funding if we can't utilize this money for our construction project of $5,315,000. On the next slide, it kind of shows some of the design. Thank you. That we've gone through here on the fire station, and this is going to be a benefit for everyone that's in the surrounding community. Anyone traveling on I-40, this is a very needed fire station. Gone through a lot of things just to get this design completed. We were ready to do this, ready to bid this out in July. Anytime we get the funding, we'll be ready to bid it out. Going to the next project. So as Mr. Bowiecki had mentioned earlier, we have the old school. So some of us have played games in this school, and around when the school was around, up and running. So right now we've done a demolition assessment that gives us alternatives to demo or to reuse and repair. I won't even tell you that figure for repair and reuse. This is an old building. It's got some environmental issues with asbestos, and the demo will require some planning and design. Right now we're asking, the budget at this point after the assessment for this project is established at $844,460. We would like to move forward with that to complete that demo and bring it down. Go down to the next page here. You can see our master plan here up in the upper left. We have quite a bit of items here that were adopted here in our master planning through our tribal council for planning purposes. A number of items here from community libraries, some swimming pool complexes, things that need to be built here. We do have some infrastructure already installed here for that master plan. So we're just, I think that the school right now is kind of a roadblock, and we need to, get it down so that we can complete some of our infrastructure work for upcoming projects in this area. You can see to your right here on the upper right just the footprint of the old school and kind of a drone view of the school looking at it. It almost looks new, but this is a pretty old building. So with that, I'm open to any questions on those two projects.
If you can go forward to the next slide. I'll take over the Laguna Rainbow Corporation. This is a 50-year-old facility. I believe in the history of the Native American community, Laguna Rainbow Corporation was the first on-reservation-based elderly nursing care center. We do have a satellite senior citizen center, but this is 40 years old. The staff has done as much as they can, but I think it's time that we demolish the entire facility and break it for new so we can actually have another 50-year worth of services. We have over at least about 3,000 elderly residents that we project will be needing the services. Right now we have a big hole in the roof that we need to cover, and we've done the abandoned repairs on that one. The elderly deserve these things, so we're looking at a planning request to do a preliminary engineering report to see how much it's going to cost. We also want to highlight the fact that the tribe does not just look at the capital outlay process. We look at the tribal infrastructure fund, but we also work very closely with federal facilities, the United States Department of Agriculture. I think Mr. Menges can attest to that. We work with Indian Health Service. We're using some of those funds to subsidize the Silver Lagoon work that's being done. We also use the one that most tribes are not taking advantage of. We utilize the New Markets Tax Credit. We have brought in about over $8 million in additional funding, so we leverage a lot of those. So I'm just highlight that. So this is a very small request on behalf of Laguna Rainbow Corporation. The other side of this equation, what's very critical, is that we're going to be going after an enhanced Medicaid rate that allows us to bring in a lot more dollars. Instead of just bringing in $199 per patient, we can bring in $500 per patient. When we ladder that out, we're looking at $3 million annually, so we know we've got the budget finance projections to make this a success. Thank you. We're open for questions.
Questions? I worked in the 40 company for 40 years, and I know how important that fire station is. You know, because every time we're out there, doing an accident and stuff, these were the responders that we're working with, you know. Because they do cover a lot of, matter of fact, from Rio Puerto to, the Blue. And it is very important. You know, it's a lot of ask on the 9 million or whatever that million was, it's a lot of ask, but to me, that's very important because a lot of people travel on highway. I think there's like 35,000 trucks that go through here every day. And to me, that's important. The second most important to me is this senior citizen center. Because, you know, if it wasn't for our parents or grandparents, we wouldn't be sitting here today. And, you know, these are just issues that people bypass and look at, they're all right, but they're not all right, you know, because I've toured a lot of senior citizen centers here just recently in the last year. And, you know, it's heartbreaking when you walk in there and they're not being cared for properly due to the lack of funding or whatever, and that's just important to me. Those are just two comments that I had.
Thank you.
Just on the elderly center, I know that's just a PER, but when you do get ready for the actual improvements, I think aging long-term services department has a separate capital outlay process, so there might be, you know, a cycle there. I think the next cycle will be the general obligation bond, which is the best opportunity for bigger funds from the aging department. So you just mentioned that because you mentioned every other funding source. So I might as well throw one out there.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Michael Manuelito. I'm the executive director for the Pueblo of Laguna. Acoma Utility Authority. I am from Laguna, but got that wrong. Sorry about that. But what we're looking at is a total planning for our water and wastewater. As you all know, that we did have a water catastrophe on our reservation. We had a break on a small line, and it was not even a main, that caused a shortage for about a month, which was really, you know, it was a bad emergency situation for our people because of the fact that we were the ones that were trying to get this going, and it turned out it was just an aging system. A pump went out, as well as some electronics that went with that pump, that drives that pump. So right now what we're looking for is asking for something to help us with the planning to move forward. So right here we have the water line improvements. We're looking at to plan and design and construct water line replacements within the Pueblo of Acoma. We have this already on the ICIP, which we are currently looking at 2.2 million that we already have, but we're asking for additional 250 million or 50,000. This is going to be for the fact that we're going to be looking at planning of what we need to be able to upgrade this now because of this aging system. Meaning we need to look at valves that are going to work, pump stations, lift stations, because right now with what the problem that we're having is we cannot pressurize our system because of the fact of elevation levels of all our tanks. We do have a new tank that is going in, which is a 350,000 gallon tank that's about to be constructed and handed over to the tribe. We also have a 12-inch water main that's going in right now, a project that's currently going on, which is funded by ICIP as well as IHS. So those are a lot of areas that are being, I guess you could say, piecemealed to help us with that. But what we're looking for is for an overall planning money to be able to look at the overall system. So that way we move forward and say, okay, this is what we're going to need moving forward. Do we need more pumps? Do we need more tanks? Do we need a new upgrade of the whole system, which I know we do. So this is number 2. Number 2 is our wastewater improvement, which goes along with the water, an aging system.
this money right here, what we're asking for, what we have now is 1.6 million already from the ICIP, which is already helping us with our phased out for our treatment facility. But what we're looking at is more planning money. This is so that way we can actually look at, are we keeping up with where we're at now, the current capacity of growth of Acoma. The assessments and the planning that were done for this, one reason why we're 10 years ago. So now we have new apartments, we have new buildings, we have a new school, we have so much more that has grown in that 10 years. So we are barely catching up now with what was already in place, was supposed to be in place 10 years ago. So this is able to help for us, and this is what we're going to be doing, is we're looking at the $125,000 to help with that planning, to go over everything what is needed for the upgrades, to get us to that point to where we are now, where we can be at up to date with the new infrastructure, as well as plan for growth into the future. And those are the only two right now. We have also Acoma Business Enterprises that are going to be given their third priority, which they'll be coming up after I'm done with these two. So I'm welcome to any questions for these two.
Michael, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Spoke on the phone.
Yes, thank you for that.
That's taken care of. So this one, you have the money for this, but the ask is only for additional planning.
Correct.
You guys are getting ready to do this.
Yes. So that's what I'm asking for. It's just the planning money for these. After we done the planning, I'm sure I'll be back next year to ask for money for that, for construction or design.
And the other money we gave in capital outlay, you got all that spent from last year?
It's currently being spent right now. We have, like I said, the tanks that are going in, the new tank and the new water line that's coming in, as well as a new well that's going to provide us. But like I said, once we get all that in from the infrastructure that was put in 10 years ago, or that was designed 10 years ago, we will be able to say, oh, now this is where we need to be from that foundation into the future. So that money that I'm asking for, which is a $250, is going to help with that. This way we understand now with newer technology like SCADA, newer technology like radio, wireless, we can go ahead and monitor all those different types of, with this new upgrade, or with that planning money.
Go ahead.
On the water situation you had just recently, has that been taken care of for right now?
Yes, currently we are getting water to everybody except for our new apartments, because of the pressure is taking time to build up to get to those, because it's a higher elevation. So right now there's only a small portion of the area that's not getting water. So we're still under an EPA boil advisory. We have already taken 6 bacteria tests and sampling. Those have all passed. But we were given by EPA 17 other sites because our whole system was depleted. So now they're asking for 17 more, which we're going to be doing on Monday. Once that happens, then we'll be able to lift the boil advisory.
And on the funding to fix the problem, you have the funding for that, or because I imagine there is emergency funding to stay somewhere.
Yes. So with the help of our senator here, we were actually able to look at some other resources for that. Where we are actually looking at upgrading more to, like I said, a new electronic equipment, new pump system, things like that. So those are still in the works, because it takes time to configure and not only design those, because we can't just come off the shelf and say, this is what we need. We need to be able to build it to our capacity, to specifics of that pump station and what we're needed for the Acoma community.
And I'm going to ask, you're not asking for a whole bunch, so I don't see a big problem in funding that and making that whole, work together on that to make sure that is done.
Yes, that would be very greatly appreciated. We do have a lot more but these I feel are the first two that we really need to get funded, because the planning, like I said, we need to set a foundation here, and then from there we move up.
No, I understand there's going to be more asked.
Yes.
To get to that point, we should be able to take care of this so we can move on.
Correct.
Because it's a big issue we don't have where anyone.
Yes, and that's where we're at. And rather than saying, well, I need 16 million for a whole water system, I don't even know what kind I need yet until I do that planning.
Thank you guys for the presentation.
Just curiously, what are you doing to provide water to those people that you're not reaching?
We have
I did get an email from, even though they're not my constituents, I did get emails from people in that area that,
Yeah, we were in contact with the Mexico EOC. They were providing water through the Albuquerque Water Authority, water tanks, as well as we were getting many donations from all over federal agencies, state agencies, even local businesses of water. So we had about a donation of 80 pallets of water to us. So we were doing community water drive-throughs, and the ones that can't get water, we were delivering it to them.
You're welcome. Just one thing, because I know our staff does a lot of project hearing and tries to help communities think about how to stack funding. You might be able to get some planning funding sooner than waiting for to next August to see that funding. I know New Mexico Finance Authority has a planning grant. I know Patricia has a planning grant program for water and wastewater. There might be a way to get the planning funds sooner and then ask for $2 million in design funding. So that'll be right behind once your plan comes out, because you don't know what system you want or need, but you know you're going to need design funding.
Yes.
And since there's funding for bigger ticket things, it might be good to look at a strategy that way. And again, adding the plan and design allows you to use it for both purposes, but you might want to.
Yes, I've also talked to New Mexico Finance as well for those different kind of grants. So those are areas that I've already explored and in the talks with that.
Good afternoon, Representative Garcia, Elcon, Johnson, Senator Sanchez, Evan. Thank you for having us here. My name is Monica Filippi, and I work for Acma Business Enterprises as a public affairs manager. And this is my colleague, Nate Filippi, who is the utility supervisor. And so we are here to request for the water and wastewater project. It is to design and construct and improve the existing wastewater system for the Pueblo of Acma and Cibola County. It is on our ICIP and the Pueblo's ICIP as the number 2 priority. The project impacts is it serves an average of 850 customers per day, and the total project cost is $3 million, and that is our capital outlay request. Before I hand it off to my colleague, I just wanted to mention a few bullet points. Is that the existing water and wastewater system is 20 years old. It is fragile and cannot handle our current business capacity. Funding will also provide an opportunity to make major upgrades to the mechanical and electrical systems. The revenue derived from Acma Business Enterprises directly benefits the Pueblo's tribal programs and community members who are served by those critical programs such as law enforcement and education. This critical infrastructure project directly addresses the health and safety of those who patronize our businesses and the work environment of all employees. Business growth on Interstate 40 at Exit 102 will result in additional job creation for the citizens in Cibola and Bernalillo counties. There is continued need to employ skilled workers and professionals within the Acma's business enterprises. Presently, many business enterprise employees commute from Albuquerque, Grants, and communities further west. So I will pass it on to my colleague, Nate.
I believe it's noon now, so good afternoon, Representative Senator. I hope everybody's doing well out there. Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to start out and highlight some of the points that colleague Monica has pointed out. Our facility is really aged, like most of them here in Cibola County. It's all 20-plus-year-old. Need of improvements in our infrastructure on our water and wastewater sites is much needed. As you can see here, this picture is showing our aging building. It houses our water system treatment plant, which is a reverse osmosis advanced treatment plant. Possibility of getting this funding will help improve or maybe go into a different design, a better efficiency of producing treated water to the surrounding areas in that certain area of 102. Here is the actual inside of our water treatment plant. It is our, like I say, aging. The one on the left, on the white pipe in there, is fairly new, but it's obsolete right now. The ones on the other side are so obsolete they don't make this product anywhere. As you can see, filters there. Our tanks, very aged, you can tell, but just looking at the pictures how aged they are, so replacing and upgrading this particular system is a much need. Here on our wastewater side, actually this is the water side still. Our wells too have been in operation for a very long time, 20 plus years, and much needed upgrading on all the infrastructure there. As you can see on the bottom there, our pump station, very obsolete, looking to replace, modifying, or getting that. And also too, our tanks there. This elevated tank is a 400,000 gallon tank. There is some modification that needs to be done to this particular tank. Safety, accessibility, and also repiping of this aging tank here. On the bottom here is our wastewater system, treatment system. Again, this is another one that's a 20 plus year old system. It is the sequencing batch reactor, which is a SBR, Advanced Wastewater Treatment. We did some modifications. We added on a second tank about 15 plus years ago. Right now, at its current state, it is at its max capacity. And all the traffic coming through, increase the traffic, and surrounding communities that are adding to their residents, adding to the community. So they do stop by and use our facilities, so we're at max capacity right now. Additional wastewater improvements, our headworks is basically our priority on this funding that we're requesting. It's in a very much need, like everybody's systems, that needs to be replaced 20 years ago. Our treatment wastewater discharge and underground tanks are same as above items there. As you can see, try not to go through every one of them, but I highlighted most of the stuff. The wastewater treatment control panel upgrades needed. Add-in sludge processing systems. Adding a third tank and a lift station. All aging systems that are need of replacement or modification.
And that's it. So we stand for questions if you have any. Thank you.
No, I appreciate the presentation. I think, like Senator Munoz mentioned, you know, if there's a package that you have, this is the year to kind of bring that package forward. You know, I think they're looking at ways to, you know, we're all used to smaller requests and phasing projects. I think this is the year to package projects. So again, just reiterate that back to you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Debbie Islam, and I'm the Senior Community Development Specialist for our RIMA chapter. So the first project we're presenting is for the RIMA Navajo chapter house renovation. And this project is in like a renovation phase, but it actually needs to be renovated. The total project cost was $2,788,125. Funded to date is $1,421,423 by Navajo Nation, which was funded back in 2019. So to date, we're asking for capital outlay funding of $1,366,702. And the reason for that request is to help in constructing, in addition to the chapter, for administrative offices, bathroom renovations, and with handicap accessible stalls, replacement of water closets, urinals, and fixtures, replace water heater, remodel kitchen, and replace all appliances. The exterior and interior need new paint, replace windows and doors, and currently the chapter is closed to the public for meetings until the renovation and safety codes have been met. And as you can see, this building is very old and it's been in existence for over 60 years. Our community members really rely on this chapter for community meetings and plannings and stuff like that, and for assistance in distributions of foods and stuff like that. So it's very important to us that, we get funding for this chapter for our community. The second project is the road grader purchase. And we requested this funding last year, but we were not granted the amount because there's some miscommunication about the chapter already having a road grader. But that is actually given to the Natural Resources Department of our chapter. So this department is the Roads Department. And they maintain all the community roads in Rayma community. And as you can see, there's just dirt roads. Most of them gravel, some of them resurfaced, and it's very critical for the health, safety, and welfare of the very rural Rayma Navajo people to access reasonably maintained earth and gravel roadways, to access the necessary health, school, and life facilities throughout the year. Currently, 600 miles of roads are maintained by our road department. And it's very hard to have the equipment maintained if there's no funding, so they have old equipment that break down, and for newer equipment it's much sturdier and it's under insurance and it can be maintained, and it helps our community a lot, especially with students. Getting on the bus on these roads. As you know, throughout the year the seasons change, and winter, fall, it's very muddy and the roads are just very hard to access, So for the schools, especially the schools mostly in Pine Hill, it's very good for the buses to travel on these roads to keep the kids safe. Our third project is the warehouse building / COVID facility building. This building is bless you. This building was funded back in 2011, but it was just for the outer shell. And right now we're requesting, because of the COVID outbreak and the RSV outbreak and equipment, distributions and quarantine places, we've identified this building to help us in assisting our community members. And the capital outlay we're requesting is $1,825,000. As you can see, the blueprint of the building there, that's how it would be constructed on the inside. And the Rayma chapter, in cooperation with the Pine Hill Health Center, will service 2,500 square miles of Rayma Navajo community in Cibola County. The community heavily relies on these services throughout the year. We are right now in the process of our chapter. Actually, yesterday we had our meeting and they declared a state of emergency of medical services and emergency supply assistance. The Pine Hill Clinic has an outbreak of RSV, I think it was called, and they don't have medical supplies available. They don't have cough medications available. They don't have EMT services now because of low staff. And it's just an emergency situation for our community right now. So this building will really assist in storing drinking water, medications, masks, whatever, food distributions, whatever. We will utilize this building for those services, even for quarantining humans, animals, that's what our plan is right now. But according to this, we're requesting $1,825,000. So hopefully, with the inflation costs and everything, this will cover it too. But we definitely appreciate your consideration for our project fundings. And I know in past we've sounded like a broken record, but every year we try. You know, I'm brand new to this. I moved back from Los Angeles 7 years ago. I was born and raised in Rema, and this is my community. And I dearly hold it to my heart to represent my community. Thank you. My colleague Michael Iracha is here. If you have any additional questions, he may be able to elaborate on those projects because he's been here many years. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a comment. You know, one of the hard things about funding the chapter is that you have to go through the nomination and spend money.
Yes.
And when I look at my list, I can see that there's projects that are just sitting there.
Yes.
And it's not your fault.
Thank you for recognizing that.
Yes. I had this dream, okay, and I don't know about this dream that I had that you could go to the Indian Affairs Department and get the money. Well, I found out that dream of mine was not right. So just keep on pushing.
Yes, we will, definitely.
Spend the money you've got to get rid of that money. Okay?
Yes, we're trying. We're trying. Yes, thank you so much for your time and inviting us. Thank you.
Thanks for the presentation. Matter of fact, I reached over and asked, where does that money go to? And he said, to an donation. And we have a list of capital outlays that have gone out, and I've gotten called for my district, that money's still sitting in the donation. And at the end of the day, the construction money is 2 years. Equipment money is 2 years, construction is 4 years. And 4 years go by really quick.
Yes.
And that's a big issue that I don't know how to address it, like Representative Kuhn said and Representative Johnson, just keep on pushing for it. And,
yes, we're definitely doing that. Yes. Yes.
I appreciate your presentation and too bad it's going on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys stay safe and happy holidays. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good afternoon, Representative Garcia, Representative Alcon, Representative Johnson, Senator Sanchez, Mr. Williams. Thank you for this opportunity today to present our priorities on behalf of New Mexico State University Grants Community College. With me today, I have Clayton Abbey, who is our Director of State Government Affairs, joining me when you have questions. Let's see. Our first priority focuses on Martinez Hall exterior renovations. As you know, Martinez Hall is the original building at the community college, and it was built in phases. And currently, right now, we are using money from 21 severance tax bond and geo bond to re-roof and resurface the exterior of the building. And due to increased construction and material prices, this project has run short. So we are asking for a supplemental amount to finish the project of $1.6 million. And with that amount, this would be able to completely resurface the entire exterior of Martinez Hall, re-roof the entire roof, and replace all windows and doors for Martinez Hall. The second priority comes from the Council of University Presidents, the New Mexico Independent Community Colleges, and New Mexico Association of Community Colleges as a unified priority for higher education in general. And so the legislative priority number 2 is to support a minimum of 5% increase in ING, instruction and general funding, for all higher education institutions, including our college here in Grants. This would help with the adjustment in inflation for group and liability insurance, utility costs, and other costs associated with inflation. In additional, other priorities would be compensation, minimum of 10% compensation increase for all employees of higher education, with the flexibility to budget an average. This is to help address the pay inequities and help some of our lowest paid employees have a better living wage. This is also to help
compete with the public schools in the recruitment of faculty to community colleges and higher ed. As you know, the governor did give the public school teachers a very good raise last year. And so at the community colleges and right here locally, we struggle to recruit that kind of talent because we cannot compete with the public schools. This compensation increase would help us recruit that. The impact of both of these increase in funding and compensation, of course, would help us expand programming. And here locally, we are looking at expanding in career technical and workforce-ready programs to support economic growth in Cibola County. The third priority would be to fund dual credit. Dual credit in the state of New Mexico for all higher education institutions, 15 million statewide, which would directly impact our college here. Currently, the state offers 8,000 students the opportunity to take dual credit students. Here in Cibola County, we offer dual credit courses to about 500 students from our local high schools, including Grants High School, Laguna Acoma, Pine Hill, Rama, Tohajali, Theru, and Crown Point. In addition to this supporting dual credit outside the funding formula, this would help us hire a coach to work directly with our local high schools to provide services directly related to dual credit and pathways to support not only transfer credit, but career and technical education. And lastly, some other higher education priorities for the state of New Mexico for higher education would be for wraparound services, for student support, to support retention and recruitment efforts. We're asking $3 million statewide. Mental health services, we're seeing a lot of students return after the pandemic, needing more support with mental and behavioral health services. And campus safety is also very important to higher education. I'd also like to thank you for your support for the Opportunity Scholarship that was enacted this last fall. As we've seen an overall increase in enrollment in the state of New Mexico for all colleges and universities. Right here locally in MSU Grants, we've seen a 20% increase in enrollment, and we are back at enrollment levels to pre-pandemic, and we are on the trajectory to exceed that for the spring and the fall. Do you have any questions?
I just got one question. Now that funding for the campus safety, does that come from the main branch of university?
This request is for all higher education institutions that we're asking the support for, and so if funded, it would be shared with all higher education institution, and for our campus, it would probably go through the Las Cruces campus. Yes.
The reason I'm asking is, we're trying to protect our campus, good campus everywhere. And this would go through all of them?
This would be a shared amount that would be given to each campus. So, for example, if this $5 million was funded, NMSU Grants might get $100,000 to put cameras up at the school, or money to get card key access stores.
No, but the reason I'm asking that is, the funding for us is so thin. For us to try to come back with $5 million. Is the university, the Mexico State University, asking everybody for this $5 million? Or is the college in La Cruz asking for different money?
Representative, I'd just like to give an update on that. Actually, as the whole state knows at this point, there was an incident at UNM about a week and a half ago that obviously really, highlighted the importance of campus safety and that we have issues on our campuses that need addressing. And so they're actually going to revise that amount as a unified approach between New Mexico Independent Community College, Council of University Presidents, and New Mexico Association of Community Colleges. We are going to ask for a larger amount. We've been working with the Higher Education Department and the governor to demonstrate that this is an item of great importance and that the funding needs to match that importance. So we haven't settled on an amount right now, but that will come out of the unified associations. But the idea is that it would be distributed, higher education department would ultimately have the determination of how that gets distributed, and they probably would base it, usually they do it based on enrollment at the institutions, and generally look at the instruction in general amounts that go to the institutions, and they'll develop a formula. But they could easily distribute it in a way that each institution gets it directly to the institution and in a way that it is commensurate with instruction in general funding and enrollment.
To me, it kind of struck me kind of, to give you $5 million, it's not going to happen. We know that.
Yeah. NMSU, I'm not asking on the behalf of just NMSU grants. I'm asking on behalf of all of higher education to support campus safety initiatives.
I understand that. What I'm looking at there, you're $5 million short. So you want $5 million. And to me, between all four of us here, there's no way we can fund $5 million, So that would be.
This is a statewide ask.
You don't know why, I know why I didn't explain that. To me, I'm looking at how we're going to come up with $5 million. And it's not going to happen. So, just speaking for myself, I don't know about the other people. I'm not going to give you $100,000 out of a $5 million ask, it's not going to go nowhere. Am I making sense on that?
Yes, and to clarify, the idea is this is something that would be placed in House Bill 2. We want funding in House Bill 2 that is not coming directly out of your capital or junior bill. We don't know if there's going to be junior bill funding. This would be ideally something that with the governor's support and the support of the Legislative Finance Committee and legislators, it would be baked into the budget in maybe in a special, Section 5 or Section 10 as we've done in previous years. And so it might be one-time funding, it might be recurring funding, but it would not necessarily be an ask of individual legislators.
So let me just see if I can get at your question, which is, we understand the statewide strategy, we understand House Bill 2, but we also understand that the mothership, and when it trickles down, sometimes it doesn't trickle down to be effective for the campus we're talking about here today, which is grants. So if there's a specific safety need for the campus here in grants, we would like to know what that dollar amount, what that's going to do, so we could, fund it that way as well. Is that what?
That's what I'm driving at, because, I would have no problem funding $100,000 if it's there, and it probably will be. But if I'm looking at a $5 million ask, it just kind of threw me off personally. I don't know about the rest of you, but it kind of put me backwards and whoa, where are we coming up with $5 million for this thing? Because what we're asking here is ask for our districts that we're working on right now.
Understandable. Thank you. Yes, and so if I had a specific ask for campus safety, it would be an application for some geofencing for the NMSU Grants campus.
Would it be possible to add the ask into the work that you're doing on Martinez House? Maybe add to it and add the wording safety and security campus and add the extra money right there. So whatever I think what is it, 1.6 is what you're asking for. Then we would need $400K for security. So we would ask to have a $2 million ask, but include the wording also add security.
Yes, thank you for that recommendation. Thank you.
At the end of the day, like the money I gave you last year,
Yes.
$80,000, and then specifically put New Mexico State University grants branch. I don't have a problem funding that.
And I'm very appreciative, and we've been working on career and technical education, and Senator Sanchez, we've been working with our workforce with those funds that have been allocated.
You're asking for the whole state, and to me,
yes, asking for support for the whole state, yes.
And this clarified, thank you for your presentation. Representative Johnson?
Just vote yes.
She gets it.
Thank you.
No, don't leave it. I got one question. I asked the same question yesterday for Gallup. What are your plans to bring our students from associate degrees to bachelor's degrees here at our campus?
So right now, Representative Alcon, NMSU Grants Campus works really closely with the Las Cruces campus to develop pathways from associate to bachelor's to master's and even doctorate programs. One prime example that just started, our campus just got approved to offer a new associate degree in counseling and community psychology. That program is 100% online. It feeds into a 100% online bachelor program, which feeds into a 100% online master's program. So there's a direct pathway for students who want to remain in their communities and still have access to higher education programs and earn those high degrees. So we are working with Dr. Sherry Coleman with Digital Initiatives to establish more programs like that. She was here yesterday on Wednesday, and we're looking at establishing a digital initiatives office at our campus that would work to bring those programs here to Cibola County, different programs, primarily in an online capacity, but that is one of our priorities moving forward, is access for rural students to higher education and to programs like bachelor's and master's programs.
And I'll just give you my dream, okay? We send our children, we graduated from high school, we send them to here at the branch campus. You take them up to an associate degree, maybe a second associate degree, and a third associate degree, and a fourth associate degree. 5 associate degrees do not make 1 bachelor's, okay? And that's what my dream is, that because these young men and women, when they leave high school, yeah, their mentality is more education, but then along this 2-year period, they get married and there's children and husbands and wives, and now they're no longer able to leave grants to go up to Las Cruces. So we have to find a way to have those programs available so they can get that bachelor's degree and still stay home.
Absolutely, and that's why New Mexico State has just rolled out their second 2 leads 2025 goals, and their goal 6 is NMSU Global, which will focus on online programs at the bachelor and master's level, and focusing on associate degrees at the community colleges that will provide that direct pathway so that students do not have to leave their home communities to earn those degrees.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
May I add one point on that also, on the New Mexico State University Online? We are we made a special request to the Department of Finance and Administration, specifically to NMSU Online, to bring it statewide, provide access across the state so that in every corner of the state you'd be able to access the courses. And a component of that obviously is around broadband and access to the internet. And so we are making a request for that money to provide internet services to students interested in taking classes through NMSU Online. Fingers crossed, we know there's $100 million, $200 million for broadband just sitting there that we're hoping they will get out into the communities and get folks across this state the access that they need. And then once they have that access, obviously, we have this beautiful model that will provide the education that they need. You don't need to leave your community. You have the opportunity to skill up, to get your bachelor's, your master's, and with the Opportunity Scholarship, which you all supported, it's that much closer for these students. And the idea is, specifically, as you said, those individuals that might have gotten married, might have taken years off, they're no longer eligible for lottery scholarship. So we have a lot of things in play right now that can allow more New Mexicans to get that bachelor's or a master's.
For disclosure purposes, Director and I spend a lot of time on the soccer field. Not just watching soccer, but we end up discussing a lot of stuff like this in the show.
Thank you, Representative.
First of all, I'm going to have Mr. Triplehorn talk to you about our safety and security upgrades, but as a preface, I want you to remember that we also have 2 major school replacements going up, which we'll be fielding RFPs for in January and February, hopefully breaking ground by April and May of next year, as will be Blue Water Elementary School as well as Mesa View Elementary School. So to talk about our safety and security upgrade requirements, here's Mr. Triplehorn.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us here. So we are asking for an additional $2 million for security upgrades for our schools throughout the district. We did spend all of the money from the last allotment of security money that was put out by the state. We still have more room to go. We need to still build some security vestibules for some schools, and we still need additional cameras and card access readers. So $2 million is our ask. It should fund the rest of those projects that we need.
Our second request is a new career and technical education facility. This career and technical education is part of our overarching $7 million investment in changing the new paradigm for education, and how we have now invested $7 million in new pathways, new 7 different career pathways for students from 6th grade all the way through 12th grade. This building would actually house many of those in one location and serve as a service center for training, practical works as well. Part of our investment included new science equipment, which includes virtual dissection tables, and a new mechatronics lab that's going into Laguna Acoma School, which is a highly funded logistics and production lab. So this building here would house other programs and centralize some of those programs for the students.
The next project that we're asking about is we are working on an operations complex, so relocating our operations center, which right now resides on High Street in the old Valencia County building. We're looking to move this out to Sacaleras and Hanish. We're in the process of purchasing that last corner piece of property. It's currently funded at $1.7 million. We currently have that. So we're asking for $800,000 to do site infrastructure upgrades, so electricity, sewer, water to the property.
And the main difference here on this particular project is if you look at our bus complex now and our garage, we can't even fit the buses in the garage. That's how old it is and how difficult. And our last project is part of our recruitment and retention program for new teachers. We want to build teacher housing out in the Cibola area to be able to bring in offer some incentives for teachers to reside here. As you all have heard over the years, it's very difficult to recruit and retain quality teachers, high quality teachers, and this will be one of our recruitment and retention strategies. I stand for any questions you might have.
Thank you. I just, teacher housing, this is you're looking at Acoma area, or you're looking here in Grand?
Cibola area.
In the Cibola
yes.
Area. Okay. And so let me ask, on the tech ed complex, is that on the public school capital outlay request? Is it on the list anywhere for the public school capital outlay?
So we actually met with Senator Munoz a few weeks ago, and he said that the state was going to be funding these types of projects directly through direct appropriations. So we put it on our list because he said that was a possibility of happening this legislative cycle. So
the thing is that I think we're meeting, the last meeting, for some reason, we have a meeting on December the 19th for public school capital outlay. And I was just wondering if you were aware of that and if there was any way that you could find a way to throw that in there.
I was not aware of that. I can reach out to PSFA and see if I can get that on the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? We'll find a way. No? Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Good afternoon, everyone. Representative Alcon, Representative Garcia, Senator Sanchez, Evan Williams, and everyone. Eileen Chavez Yarborough with Cibola Communities Economic Development Foundation. Let me see. Okay. And there we go. So I have 3 priorities for you to consider this year. The first is for the Village of Milan, the Milan Industrial Park, and the scope is to construct the Phase 1 infrastructure for the Milan Industrial Park, which would include rail, roads, utilities, water and wastewater, and general site improvements. So the park is like a big triangle, and it would be for mostly the southern part of the park, which includes access to the rail, access to the park with the road, and then the general infrastructure to get into the park. We, at this point, have a fully funded master plan and design, and we also have a fully funded 90% spec building design for the park. But the total cost of the park comes out to approximately $78 million, and we're phasing it. And so the first phase needed would be $7.5 million. The largest part of that is the rail infrastructure. And so we would like to get that on the ground. We have had several requests to move into the park, but because we don't have the rails infrastructure on the ground, it's holding us back. And so I can point to 2 companies specifically that would have signed to lease land and operate there if it hadn't been for no rail infrastructure. So we're excited to get that in. And then obviously the Village of Milan has not been able to participate in helping us fund this because they have priorities for the village. So COG and CCEDF have taken it upon ourselves to try and work through other funding agencies to fund all of this. And so we know that there's a lot of money out there right now for infrastructure and things like that, and we figured that now would be the good time to ask. I can ask for more, but I think 7.5 is a pretty good figure. For the City of Grants, we have the airport hangar and terminal, and this is to plan, design, and construct the new hangar and terminal. CCEDF originally provided $30,000 for a planning document for the hangar, and then Representative Garcia was able to get us with the State Aviation Division $2 million for a new terminal. And so what we thought we would do to try and save money is to do those 2 projects together, possibly, and see if we can save on some construction costs, material costs, and all of that kind of thing. Originally, we were saying that we needed $2.5 million to finish, probably closer to 5 now that construction costs are doubling. And so we have $2 million, we're asking for 2.5, but it's probably going to be higher than that. And then the interchange infrastructure, we're trying to think ahead. We're not working for today, we're working for 10 years ahead of the time. And so with the Milan Industrial Park coming online, with the new airport terminal, and the Cibola Industrial Park getting their final tenant, those interchanges need upgrade to accommodate commercial and industrial traffic. And so the ask, $250,000, would be for the plan design for infrastructure improvements at 85 and 89 specifically. And then there's a separate ask through a transportation ask for a new exit that would go directly into Milan Industrial Park. But for right now, $250,000 would help us get those designs and plans underway. And then finally, for Cibola County, for the entire county, we are requesting $100,000 to hire an outdoor recreation champion and or director. Right now, currently, the RERC, which is the Recreation Economy for Rural Communities Action Plan that the City of Grants got a grant for, Economic Development has taken that, not on, but we're continuing to move it forward with the steering committee, and we have a scope of work for, it could be a year or 2 years worth of work that the outdoor recreation champion or director could start working on today. And so, as you heard, the City of Grants and Cibola County and Milan are making outdoor recreation one of their target sectors, and so we want to be there in lockstep with them to help provide the staff needed to move that effort forward. And so that final ask for that is $100,000, and we would surely appreciate any and all funding that you can provide to these priorities. One thing that you should know is all of these priorities will lead to job creation. And that's my main goal, right, is to how do we replace the jobs we lost out at Tri-State, how do we replace the jobs that we've just lost in general, and how do we create new jobs to keep our economy going and strong here in Cibola County. Thank you. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Yes.
Just on that Milan Industrial Park, do you have the facility, do you have the ability to load and unload at that park from the rail?
Right now, there is a spur, but it is privately owned. And so we have access currently for a new spur to come into the park that would provide traffic east and west. The current spur is just, it belongs to Mount Taylor Millworks, and it's private, and it would not be able to accommodate unit trains and those kinds of things that we need for the park.
One of the things that Burlington Northern Santa Fe requires is a rail plan that they approve. So they have a rail plan, and they've been working through that certification process for Burlington Northern, because you can't just add a spur, you can't bring new cars unless the railroad is involved in that decision. So they have that in the works. This would need to be certified before that rail could be added.
So, just out of curiosity, when we're talking about a few years ago, my memory's still a little foggy, when Governor Martinez was here, they came in and they had a big old thing there. What was that all about?
So that was, I believe, in 2014, and we had a company by the name of NGL that was going to be a middleman to transload oil from trains onto trucks. They purchased the land, they asked for incentives, and we announced the project with Governor Martinez. And 2 weeks before we were supposed to break ground on the project, the bottom of the oil market fell out, and NGL pulled out the next week and said they were not going to move forward with the project. So currently now we are working with a local company to acquire that land back from NGL to make the park whole again, so that we can put in that unit train loop and do everything that we were planning to do initially.
So we sold that land to NGL, or we leased it? What did we do?
The village sold it.
They sold it?
Correct, with no clawbacks. So now we are working, and we're pretty close to getting it back for the village of Milan, and then we can continue forward. The cost is no cost to the village or economic development. It will be donated to the village, most likely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then this is a brochure for the outdoor recreation initiative that we're pushing forward. We went through a branding campaign with Once a Day Marketing, Jim Glover and Marianne Tenenbaum, and this is a brochure that they came up with out of that, and so it's just a general brochure to talk about what we want to do here in Cibola County regarding outdoor recreation. And then there's the other side of that brochure as well. And so we're really excited to get this effort up and going, because we see the outdoor recreation could provide the quickest return on investment. It, quote unquote, is the low-hanging fruit, which we try not to use that term too much, but it is. We have all of the assets in place as far as natural attractions. We just need to add to the amenities and services to go along with that. And that's it for me. Any other questions?
No, thank you. Always very good.
Thank you, Evan and Brandon.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Representative Alcon, Representative Johnson, and Senator Sanchez. My name is Lisa Baca-Diaz, and I am the president of the Blue Water Acres Domestic Water Users Association. With me today I have Derek Smith, and he is our water systems operator. I wanted to clarify, since there's so many Blue Water different locations, we're located on the southwest side of the lake. Las Tuchas is what they call it. So, yeah, Blue Water Acres. And we are a small rural water district. So we definitely, like all of us, are in need of assistance through our state legislators for funding. This year, let's see, I got to put this up to us. Our first request for our legislative priority number one is to, that's not one. It's out of order here. These are backwards, these two slides, but our first priority is the gate valve replacement. Our water valves in the system, there's about 20 of them, and they're all in excess of 20 years old. So they need to be replaced. In some cases, some of them are not functioning correctly, so if we would have a water break, we would not be able to even shut the system down in different segments of its operation. This map that you see here, we were able to receive a grant this summer from RCAC, who is a great proponent of our association. And this is a GIS map where we were able to map all of our water facilities in our system. And we're asking, you know, these slides got, I think the titles on the slides are what are wrong, because the valve replacement is this one. This one should be our valve replacement project. We're looking at replacing 20 valves at a cost of $15,000 per valve. So that's for the whole project. The title on this slide needs to be changed to water valve replacement, and that is our priority project on that one. The second priority project, this is actually the water line extension project. And if you look to the far right, you'll see a red line that is connecting the two. We have Rainbow Drive and Dolphin Drive that both are dead-end streets. What this line extension would do, it's approximately 700 feet of water line that would complete the loop in the system, which would improve the water pressures, qualities, everything else that we would need by the completion of looping of a water line system. As a planner, we're always taught to do your planning and design first, get ready for your project, get a project shovel ready, and then do your construction planning. It sounds like this year that we should be submitting our full project. So we will probably, instead of just looking at doing the planning and design, we will look at submitting our entire project, which would be the $1,054,000, which would include plan, design, construction, and there's also some equipment that's included in there. We do have a mule and we have a lift for the back of our truck that would assist our water operator in the chlorination needs of the system and those types of things. So we will probably do a reconsideration of just plan and design and be submitting the full entire project. We do have a third project. We did not even include it in this presentation. Again, this is the photo of the street that the water line extension would be located on. It's Lakefront Drive between Dolphin and Rainbow Drive. And we stand for any questions that you may have. Thank you. Did you have anything you needed to add? Thanks, Derek.
Good. I'm good. I pretty much know their area really, really well.
One of our previous.
It used to be part of my district a long time ago, and then for 10 years it wasn't, and then it became mine again.
Well, welcome back, Representative. We're glad to have you.
You know, this is the way we work in Northwest New Mexico. If someone can't be there, we make sure someone can, right, to represent all of us. So, again, in that spirit, Commissioner Moore couldn't be here today. He was the one that helped sponsor lunch. The Regional Solid Waste Authority helped us today with that. Commissioner Moore, we usually let him go last because he usually just says, whatever you didn't fund from the rest of the presentations, I'll take whatever you have left. He would have also probably made the joke that, let me see, now that he's retiring from the county commission, he's termed out, his wife is moving him up to Utah, so he will no longer be the executive director of the Regional Solid Waste Authority. So now that he's gone, you can fund the Solid Waste Authority. But as you know, the Regional Solid Waste Authority really came into effect when the state stopped kind of our landfills. Everything needed to be lined and environmentally safe. And so the Regional Solid Waste Authority became an organization to help all the communities with their solid waste and recycling needs. And so the main facility obviously is in Theroux, but the entities that pay in and are provided service are the Village of Milan, Cibola County, City of Grants, McKinley County, and City of Gallup. But the outreach and the extent of who brings trash to this facility is everybody, all the way up as far into Arizona as the Navajo Nation, all the way down into many of our rural communities, land grants, acequias, et cetera, are all bringing trash to this facility. Again, this being a public operation, they're able to keep tipping fees low, but they need public assistance to make things work. And so they're always asking for new cell development. They finished their first 8 cells. They're on to number 9, number 10, and looking at the future of needs for the facility. I will tell you, during COVID-19, it seemed like everybody had a honey-do list. And the first thing on that list was clean everything out and send that trash to the Solid Waste Authority. So during COVID, they saw extreme spikes in trash service, which exhausted one of their cells very quickly ahead of schedule. And so, again, they're just asking for a piece of that cell development this year to help them. They have funding for the next cell, but anything they can save the citizens that service. So again, cell development is always part of their list, as well as heavy equipment. They run through trucks and trailers and want to be safe on the road. We heard a lot about I-40. They don't want to be causing issues. So replacing these trucks and trailers is just an ongoing need of the Solid Waste Authority. If you haven't been to the landfill, I know we did a couple tours. It's one of my favorite tours. It's the most beautiful landfill probably in the country because it just sits right against the Red Rocks. They've done a lot to upgrade in terms of recycling facilities, tire kind of eradication. They've been taking out legal dump sites. They've been adding to their services to really be a holistic solid waste facility. Again, as you know, in years past they had issues. They've done a lot to really resolve all of their issues and move forward in good standing. So again, I'm just here kind of representing their needs today. So I won't take any questions because I probably can't answer them properly. But again, we appreciate you all taking the time to be here today and hear all of the requests that were made. We did want to offer the opportunity to you all to kind of have the final word. If I would start with Representative Johnson just being our guest, and then we can go from there.
Thank you, Evan, and thank you, colleagues, and everyone in the audience. I represent House District 5, McKinley and San Juan counties. So I represent East Gallup and about 15 Navajo chapters. east of 491, parallel to west of 371. That's the road that goes from Crown Point to Planington, and then south of Farmington and north of Gallup. I came to listen to what my colleagues and my neighboring communities were working on, so I basically came to listen and learn. I drive through this town often, and sometimes I stop and I fuel up and shop at Walmart and drive by on I-40, and then of course my Pueblo neighbors live in the surrounding area. So I basically came to listen and learn, and I appreciate all the presentations, and thank you for lunch. Thank you. Oh, and I'll remind my colleagues to vote yes for all your initiatives.
Thank you, Evan, and thank you for everyone that's still here with us. For sticking it out. These are all great things, and working together with my colleagues here and Representative Garcia who left, we've made a lot of progress. It was saddened that we got our stuff vetoed last year in this area, but we will work hard again this year to get it back. And again, thank you, Evan, for having us. These are great for, it's not like a broken record, but where everybody can come to one place and can meet, so we don't have so many meetings. I don't think the people understand how much on the road we are. We're constantly driving somewhere, so really good today. There's a lot of good stuff here that I think we can get funded. So thank you again, Evan, and thank you for everyone's here.
And again, Evan and the entire group of Brandon, thank you. I mean, that's really appreciated, because I just would like to be happy to go to every one of the communities and listen to the presentation out there. This is really awesome, plus a free lunch. What else can I ask for? I looked back and I think to myself, when I was the freshman representative, Senator Joe Fidel was our senior member. Representative Kenny Martinez was right behind him, and I was the little guy that was just listened to sometimes. But those guys were power. And it is just amazing that today, basically myself and Senator Munoz are the senior legislators in the area. I think except for Representative Lundstrom, who is in Gallup, but the representative of Cibola County, Senator Munoz and I are now the senior legislators. It's amazing how time flies. But anyway, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate this.
Thanks. Thanks.